Hello everyone, this is Jennifer Sicasabar. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am going to discuss kinds and classifications of research. So the content of our videos are as follows. Kinds and classification of research, the scientific method of research, principles of scientific method. So for kinds and classification of research, there are different distinctive features. Number one, we have according to purpose. Number two, according to goal. Number three, according to levels of investigation. Number four, according to the type of analysis. Number five, according to scope. Number six, according to choice of answers to problem. Number seven, according to statistical content. And also according to time element. So let's move on to the number one feature. We have according to purpose. So according to purpose refers to the extent to which the findings are used. Okay? From the word itself, purpose or use. So we have there predictive or prognostic research. We have also illuminative research. Letter C is directive research. So letter A, we have predictive or prognostic research. So it has the purpose of determining the future operation of the variables under investigation. So with the aim of controlling or redirecting such for the better. It proposes to give the result from one specific educational practice or pattern and seeks to establish a close statistical connection between characteristic of student and a phenomenon or a prediction of education outcome. When we say predictive research, it provides information essential for understanding and predicting the future outcome. Okay, mostly this is for clinical research. Okay? The information obtained from this is essential for health workers, health service, or healthcare provider. Okay, the purpose is to have information for better understanding in the future. Okay. Letter B, we have illuminative research. It is concerned with the interaction of components of variable being investigated. For example, interaction of components of educational systems, an aim to show the connection among students' characteristics, organizational patterns, and policies and educational consequences. So for illuminative research, this is any research that explores new things or enhances old research. That's why it is being called as illuminative research. And letter C, directive research determines what should be done based on the findings. Okay, so this is the remedy and an unsatisfactory condition if there is any. So for directive research, we will determine if what will be the possible alternative or remedy if there is any problem occur into your problems. Next, we have also according to goal. For according to goal, we have two basic or pure research and applied research. So for basic or pure research, it is also known as fundamental research. It is done for the development of theories or principles. It is conducted for the intellectual pleasure for learning. Much of this kind has been done in psychology and sociology. Okay, for example na lang po is, what is the effect? Kung for example, ang problem nyo is you're pertaining to the effect of the students. For example, the online class, what is the effect to the students? Okay, that is a part of a basic or a pure research because this is mostly done by a psychologist and a sociologist. A basic research is a type of a scientific research with the aim of improving or developing scientific theories for better understanding. And for applied research, it is the application of the results of pure research. So, doon sa part ng basic, if there is any findings, so for applied research, this is the application of the result of the pure or the basic research. So, you are going to test the efficacy of theories and principles. Okay? For applied research, it is designed to answer specific questions aimed at solving practical problems. Next, we have according to levels of investigation, we have exploratory research, we have descriptive research, and we have also experimental research. So for exploratory research, the researcher studies the variables pertinent to a specific situation. So this research is used to investigate a problem which is not clearly defined. Okay? This is conducted by a researcher wherein it is clearly to investigate a problem which is not clearly defined. So it is conducted based for a better understanding of the existing problems, but will not provide conclusions or conclusive results. It doesn't mean that it will provide already a conclusive results. Okay, it's just to clear the problems stated for the research. And for descriptive research, the researcher studies the relationship of the variables. So this type of research describe the population, the situation or phenomenon that is being studied. It focuses on answering how, what, when, and where questions of research problem rather than the why. Okay? And also for experimental research, the experimental studies the effects of the variables on each other. The purpose of experimental research is to establish the existence of a cause and effect, okay, between two variables. Okay. And that is for experimental research. And next, we have according to type of analysis. We all know that analysis is very important when you are conducting a research. We have two approaches. We have analytic approach and holistic approach. For analytic approach, the researcher attempts to identify and isolate the components of the research situation. So for analysis approach, the use of analysis is to break the problem down into elements necessary to solve it. So each elements become a smaller and easier problem to solve. So, ang mangyayari dyan, pag analytic approach, before you come up with your answers or your solutions, you need to divide it into element. Okay? Papalitin nyo ng papalitin muna nang sa ganun, mas mabilis mo siyang mabigyan ng solution or answers doon sa research mo. Yun. And for holistic approach, okay, it begins with the total situation, focusing attention on the system first and then on its internal relationships. So, this is like the opposite of analytic approach. Kung kanina, kailangan mo muna siyang papaliitin or yes, i-subdivide mo siya so that you will come up with better solution. Dito po sa holistic approach is relating to the idea that the things should be studied as a whole. Okay, as a whole and not just as a sum of their parts. So you will going to study it as a whole, buo. Okay, for holistic approach. And number 5, we have according to scope. Under this category is the action research. Action research is a type of research done on a very limited scope to solve a particular problem which is not so big. So, it is almost a problem solving. So, limitado lang po yung pagkakandak po ng action research. wherein ang mga ginagawa po itong mga type ng research is not so big problem. Okay? Action research involves the application of the stages of the scientific method in the decisions problems. Okay? And we have also according to choice of answers to problems. Number one, we have evaluation research. All possible courses of actions are specified and identified, and the researcher tries to find the most advantageous. Okay. For evaluation research, okay, example of evaluation research is assessment. Okay, assessment of the past, present, or proposed um, actions. Okay. And for developmental research, the focus is on finding or developing a more suitable instrument or process that has been available. So for the developmental research, it is focused on progressive changes, yung may mga pagbabago kung paano po niya mapoprogress or madedevelop yung isang bagay. Okay? That will occur in a certain program. So we are pertaining to the progress or development of a suitable instrument. And for according to statistical content, we have quantitative or statistical research, and we have also qualitative research. So for quantitative or statistical research, it is one in which inferential statistics are utilized to determine the results of the study. So for quantitative, we are pertaining to numerical analysis of data collected through polls, surveys, or questionnaires. So we are pertaining to numerical data. In numbers po siya. But when I say qualitative research, this is a research in which the use of statistics is particularly or practically nil. Descriptive data are gathered rather than quantitative data. For qualitative data, this is the opposite of quantitative research. For quantitative kasi we're pertaining to numerical, but for qualitative, we are pertaining to non-numerical data. So, ano bang example ng mga non-numeric data? So, yan po yung mga text, audio, videos, or others. Okay, that is for qualitative research. And according to time element, we have historical research, descriptive research, and experimental research. For historical research, it describes what was. Okay, what was, so that is past. So, it generates descriptive and sometimes attempted explanation of conditions, situations, and events that have occurred in the past. Okay, it will describe this situation. For historical research, it will describe the situations, the events that occurred from the past. For descriptive research, it describes what is. Okay, so that is present. Descriptive research provides information about situation, about events, and conditions that occur in the present. And for experimental research, it describes the situation and condition, okay, from or what will happen in the future, because it describes what will be. So, kung ano yung mangyayari. Okay? Those are the distinctive features or characteristics of or kinds and classifications of research. So, we will move on to scientific method of research. So, these are the methods in conducting a research. So, number one, you need to determine or recognize the problem. So, you need to identify what are your possible problems to be entertained to your research. Okay? After that, forming a hypothesis. So you need to hypothesize. You need to formulate your own hypothesis. When I say hypothesis, this is your tentative guess which will lead you to your entire research. Number 3, doing the library research. So you need to search for existing answers and solution. Number 4, designing this study. So you need to design and perform an experiment. Number 5, developing the instrument for collecting data. So what will be your instrument or tools to be used when you conduct your research? Number 6, collecting of data. Number 7, analyzing the data. You need to interpret, you need to analyze all of your collected data. And number 8, determining implications and conclusions from the problem. So you need to make a conclusions that is based on your hypothesis. And number 9, making recommendation for further research. Hindi po nawawala ang recommendations. Okay? What will be the possible remedies? What will be the possible recommendations? And also, you need to recommend for further research as the basis for those who will come up with research. Okay? And lastly, we have principles of scientific method. So number 1 is rigid control. So what did you mean by rigid control? It refers to the manipulation of research variables. Variables are those things that vary in quantity and quality, which are to be manipulated by the researcher. So when we say rigid control, it is strictly observed and adheres to rigid schedule, and you should be firm, okay, precise and accurate with regards to your manipulation of your study or variables. And for objectivity, it means that there should be no biases or partiality in treating the results of inquiry. So what did you mean by that? So strive to avoid bias in experimental design, data analysis, data interpretation, peer review, personnel discretions or decisions, grant writing, expert testimony, and other aspects of research where objectivity is required. So avoid or minimize bias or self-deception. Disclose personal and financial interests that may compromise your research or your study. And another is systematic organization. It refers to proper and accurate tabulation of data as well as presenting them in statistical tables ready for interpretation. So, systematic because there is a definite set of procedures and steps which you need to follow. So, there are certain things in the research process which are always done to get the most accurate research. So, you should be organized, you should be systematic, and also you should follow all of these steps and procedures in order for you to come up with good conclusions and recommendations. And lastly is rigorous standards. Rigorous standards means the setting up of standards or principles which serve as your basis for evaluating the findings of the study, and it is also refers to the accurate statistical computation and interpretation of quantified data. So for rigorous standard, you need to set up standard or principles na magiging basihan mo when you are conducting a research. Okay? You should adhere to the strict standards or methods for you to come up with accurate data. Okay? That is what research. Okay? You should be systematic and also you should be organized, and you should adhere to the standards and also to the different procedures. Okay, so that is the topic for this morning. So we come up with the different distinctions or distinctive features or classification of research, scientific method, and also the principles of scientific method. So that's all for today. So thank you very much, and please be updated for more videos. So thank you and have a good day.